Yes, I see that.
Now you confirm, if you go back to your annex Schedule A, that item 5 required you to speak about your relationship with Lieutenant General Sibiya. And the question posed by Commissioner Kumalo is that even in your supplementary statement, quote unquote, you have failed once again to deal with your relationship with General Sibiya.
Matlala's decision to refuse to answer questions about Hangwani Maumela and General Shadrach Sibiya could ultimately backfire. While refusing to testify does not, by itself, prove wrongdoing, it leaves important questions unanswered and may create the perception that there is something he does not want to explain. More importantly, if the Commission can establish the relevant relationships through financial records, messages and other witnesses, Matlala's silence could allow investigators to build the narrative without his side of the story. In that sense, what may appear to be a defensive strategy today could become a liability if independent evidence contradicts or undermines his position. Let us listen to the rest of his testimony.
You note that?
Yes, I do.
I think then perhaps this might be your opportunity to explain to the commissioners why you elected, notwithstanding that you were given a further opportunity to deal with that relationship in the terms as requested of you.
Oh, firstly, if we can remember, Commissioner, you asked me about, this goes to General Sibiya, but I need to take you back. You asked me about my interactions with General Mkonazi. What was it that was discussed during the meeting? And I only told you about the Medicare tender and the warrant. So, and I said some of the things I could not talk about them because I wouldn't want to prematurely disclose my defense strategy. Because if you go back, and now I mentioned about General Sibiya, and the very same recordings that I was talking about, his name has been mentioned there. And I said, those recordings are under investigation, and I do not know what actually are they investigating me about in those recordings. So I did not say anything about him because I did not want to somehow end up incriminating myself.
I think, Mr. Matlala, the question is, what is your relationship with this person? So it has nothing to do with offenses that are under investigation and the possibility of self-incrimination. You are being asked to explain your history and or relationship. Take Mr. Van Wyk, for example. You've set out what your history and relationship is with him. Then you say, because he's a witness in the Medicare matter, you won't say anything further. But in relation to General Sibiya, you don't even say you know him. You don't even say you have a history with him.
Okay.
And that is separate from whatever issues are being investigated and may be the subject of criminal proceedings. So I would expect you to please answer the question, what is your history and relationship with General Sibiya? And then at a stage where you need to assert your privilege, you may do so. But I cannot accept that you are not even able to say, I know the person.
I understand, Commissioner. So I will say I know him because of at some point I went to his office to make a complaint about the occupation of the lease agreement that I had with Public Works. So that is the first time that I got to know of him.
The what of the lease?
The lease agreement, I had a lease with Public Works for the hospital that is situated inside SAPS College, which is in Pretoria West. So and then I couldn't occupy that hospital. So that was my first time that I went to him to complain about that.
Perhaps to assist you, please let's go to the Regulation 10.6 itself, because specific questions are posted there in respect of each.
And his email address was given to me by Sergeant Ngosi.
Yes.
That's, I think that will answer by a third party who made the introduction.
So it was Sergeant Nkosi who made the introductions.
Yes.
Okay. The second then is at 2.2.2, the nature or description of your relationship with General Sibiya.
I do not have a relationship with him.
Maybe not now, but let's say from the date you met him until the date of your arrest. What was the nature of your relationship with him? The description, nature or description of your relationship?
I do not know how to answer this question, Commissioner. You say nature.
Were you friends?
No.
So your engagements with him, what were they? Were you engaging with him as a policeman, as what?
The engagement, hence I said, is something which is under investigation, which I cannot. Yes, there are engagements, but it's something that is under investigation, and partly some charges that I'm currently facing. So for me to explain that to you, I have to go deep in and then explain the nature of the charges that I'm currently facing that involves him.
Let me ask you this. Are you not able to say, these are the examples of the engagements I had with him? With these ones, there are no issues. But this one, I know that there's an investigation, so I assert my privilege. I would have a difficulty if you said, even when you met him at his office, to lay charges or to complain about service delivery. You're not going to tell us about it.
But that I've already done it.
No, you mentioned one incident when you met with him to discuss the public works issue.
Yes.
So that was one.
Of course.
The question I asked you was, from that moment until the date of your arrest, what was the nature and description of your relationship?
That's something that I cannot go into because it's under investigation. I cannot go into that.
Did you, after you had met him for the first time, did the two of you socialize? Maybe meet at ceremonies, functions?
You mean the first time?
Did after you had met him for the first time? After?
Yes, I met him.
Did you socialize?
Socialize, meaning
meet at
meeting
ceremonies,
social gathering.
meet at ceremonies, functions?
Yes.
Okay. And what sort of gatherings or ceremonies?
It was an engagement party, I think.
Whose engagement?
I don't know whether it's his daughter or his son. I'm not sure about that. But it's between the two. I'm not sure whether it was the daughter or the son.
Thank you, Commissioners. You say, I will say it is under investigation, and of course I speak subject to your correction. You can't talk about your relationship with General Sibiya because what is under investigation exactly? Is it your relationship with General Sibiya that is under investigation?
Is the contents of what is in the recordings regarding General Sibiya, and also is in relation with the Medicare tender.
So what is under investigation insofar as your relationship with General Sibiya is concerned is regarding the Medicare tender?
Yes, that's correct.
And anything else?
Like the contents that are in the recordings.
What does that mean, Mr. Matlala?
Chairperson, for me to explain that, I have to obviously now speak about what is in the content of those recordings.
You see, what I'm trying to understand is you are asserting a right, right? And the right you seek to assert is the right not to self-incriminate. Now, logic dictates that you can only self-incriminate in a specific offense. Do you understand what I'm saying, at least?
I hear you.
Okay. Now, what you seek to do, you say you can't talk of a relationship generally with this particular person because there is a risk you will incriminate yourself. That then raises the next question, incriminate yourself in what? You must be able to articulate that for the commissioners to accept that yes, indeed, you do face such a risk. So you're going to have to articulate that. You're going to have to explain exactly what the offense is.
The offense,
Perhaps let me just explain where Ms. Silo is coming from. There is a decision by the Constitutional Court, and sitting here in a legal context, we are bound by those decisions. There is a decision by the Constitutional Court that says if someone is asserting the privilege that you are asserting, what they say must be within clearly defined contours or parameters. They cannot just in general say, I'm asserting my privilege against self-incrimination. So it's on that basis or at that level that Ms. Silo is engaging you. Do you follow that? So you cannot just say, because issues relating to Mr. or General Sibiya somehow relate to the Medicare 24 contract, I'm not willing to answer any question relating to that because I might incriminate myself. That may not fall within what the Constitutional Court prescribed. So it's on that basis that Ms. Silo is engaging you. Are you in a position to respond, or do you want Ms. Silo to repeat the question?
so saying that it's because of the Medicare tender, it does not justify why I cannot comment on that. So I should explain, is fraud, is money laundering. So I do not know how I should explain that. I don't know.
Okay, let's try it this way. You are facing a criminal charge in respect of Medicare 24 tender.
Yes.
General Sibiya is not.
Yes.
What bearing does your relationship with General Sibiya have on that charge you are facing when he's not your co-accused?
Yes, he's not my co-accused, but
Yes.
He's been investigated
By who?
by IDEC,
In what case? For what crime? What offense?
the Medicare tender.
And what is the proof of that when he is already not part of the litany of accused who are now being charged for the Medicare tender? So you have about these 14, 15 people who are already facing criminal charges. Now you say by IDEC, initiated by IDEC, and you say he is still under investigation. On what basis do you so say? Because one would have expected that he formed part of this cohort of accused persons, which he doesn't.
Yes, I do not know why he's not part of the...
Then how do you know he's under investigation?
Because I've been questioned about him, and also I've made a statement under Section 204 when I was being questioned about him.
You were questioned about him in respect of Medicare 24?
Yes.
Okay. I'll accept that. But what does that have to do with the fact that he's your friend? I'm sure you were questioned, and I suggest to you, about certain conduct. His conduct. Was that not the extent of the questioning?
Of course.
So that conduct, you don't need to be friends for that conduct to raise questions and be subjected to investigation. We are not discussing his conduct. We are discussing your relationship with him. Why can't you comment on that without necessarily saying anything about his conduct, which you suggest IDEC is investigating?
Commissioner, I've already commented on that. I don't know whether you want me to say... I told you he was not my friend. He's not my friend. But there is an investigation that is going on. So I do not know what is it that you say I cannot comment on. Unless now, if you want me to explain what is it exactly that IDEC is investigating him for.
No, that's not my question, because you want that to be my question. I'm staying away from that question. I do not accept, just for the record, that he's under investigation, because you haven't even proven that he's under investigation. Your say-so is not enough. It's not your get-out-of-jail card to refuse to answer a question simply because you suggest somebody else, or you suggest that there is an investigation, and there is not a morsel of proof before us that there is such an investigation. It is no answer, but that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you about your relationship with the man, and that you describe the relationship. Is it a long-term relationship initiated on that particular date when you went to complain about the hospital, the SAPS hospital? Does it sustain? Has it broken down? Was it very close? Was it a business relationship? I'm giving you. And you see, so far, I haven't even gotten anywhere close to what IDEC is investigating him for. And I'm demonstrating that you can answer that question without reference to what you claim IDEC is investigating him for.
Okay, then which question do you want me to answer?
Please describe, in your own words, the relationship you have with General Sibiya. You had, and if it has since changed, when it changed, and the one you currently maintain with him.
The relationship that I had with him, it was not like a friendship relationship.
Okay. Well, if it was not like something, it has to be like another. What was it like?
Now you're pushing me to say something that I do not know what I will say, because he was not a friend, yes, and for me to go further is the only way to do that then is to go now into the contents of the investigation, which I do not want to tap in that territory.
Okay, let's...
Was he an acquaintance?
He's someone that I knew.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps then let's continue. It might become clearer in time for the commissioners, the nature of relationship. Staying then with the regulation 10.6 at 2.2.3, page 3, that's where I'm reading. The 10.6 required you, in respect of General Sibiya, to explain the nature, extent, and frequency of your communications with him.
Communications, it was maybe once when I went to his office.
Okay. And by communications, direct or otherwise? Have you communicated with him directly, and have you communicated with him indirectly? When we talk about indirectly, please explain the method of communication you conducted then.
Directly, yes, through, I sent him an email.
Yes.
That was the first time. I've never called him directly. So I only spoke with him, I think, I'll say 3 or 4 months. I'm just saying on top of my head, I cannot remember well. Maybe I'll say 3 or 4 months after I first met him. And then the communication then was through a third party, the very same Sergeant Nkosi.
And how frequent was that communication?
Frequent, plus minus 3 or 4 times.
And what was the communication about?
Let's leave it there, because that is part of the investigation.
Is the engagement party you attended of his daughter or son, are you seriously suggesting it's part of IDEC's investigation?
Yes, it is.
In what manner? As to who engaged who and why, or why?
I think I'll have to discuss with my legal counsel, because I'm in possession of my 204 statement. The only way for you to understand that is for you to see the statement, but it is.
I think then it would help for the commissioners to understand the basis on which you seek to assert this right? Because the attitude you are adopting is you cannot ask me about General Sibiya because IDEC is investigating something somewhere.
But Commissioner, fairly speaking, I have to go to court and account on this, so I cannot now ventilate anything that is to do with him, especially something that is already being under investigation. I do not know even whether he will be charged or not. So chances are he might not even be charged. I don't know that. But currently myself, I'm charged, and I have to go to court and account for these things. So I don't think it's fair for me now to speak about something which I'm not sure at the end of the day whether I'll have to account for that or not.
You see, the challenge I have, Mr. Matlala, is I think you conflate yourself with General Sibiya. You are not General Sibiya. You are facing charges for your conduct. And we haven't done anything to even stray into that discussion. We're talking about something separate, which is your relationship with yet a third party who's not charged with you. So I don't understand, in the current criminal case that you are facing, how you'll be called to account for your relationships with, including General Sibiya. How does that come into play?
It actually does.
How?
I don't know how because I'm not an investigator.
Okay, then I'll tell you that it doesn't. You cannot even, I won't even say prove, it's too high a threshold. You cannot even persuade the commissioners that it is relevant for purposes of the current criminal case you are facing. You are not able to. You accept that?
I do not accept that.
Okay, then if you don't accept that, then demonstrate to these commissioners that relationship is relevant to the charges you currently are facing.
I think I've just said it that the only way for me to demonstrate that is for me to now to get right inside the cracks of the matter, which is something that I cannot do.
Then I'll put this proposition to you, that you don't want to talk about the nature, extent, frequency of your communications with General Sibiya, because if you do, you are at risk of incriminating yourself in some offense, because by their very nature, they would be breaching the law. That's my proposition to you. What's your response?
I cannot argue with you on that.
Okay.
That's how you see it.
Then,
Sorry, before you move
Yes.
on, Mr. Matlala, in describing the nature of the communications with General Sibiya, you have a number of options, and without getting into the detail of it, and I don't intend to repeat what Ms. Silla has said to you, because ultimately the Commission must be satisfied that you have correctly asserted the privilege against self-incrimination. And for us to do that, we need to know what it is that you avoided talking to, not in general terms, general broad terms, but specifically. Having said that, when I say you have a number of options, I can put this to you as an example. You have had interactions with General Sibiya. We know you sent an email, you went to the office, and you do say it had to do with the lease. I think it's competent to ask you, have you had any interactions with him about the Medicare contract, still at general terms? And if you're asked what exactly, you can say, I wanted help to resolve the lease issue. You testified in the ad hoc committee, for example. You said you interacted with him about the kidnappings of, I think, Mr. Bushocha and Mr. Dikale. That has nothing to do with your Medicare contract. And if you don't speak to that, then you are not being frank with us. If you don't say, well, other things that have nothing to do with the Medicare contract I've dealt with him, then you're not being frank with us. The chairperson said to you, asked you, have you socialized with him? And it had to be put, it had to be dragged to you, in my opinion, for you to say, yeah, we had an engagement. So there are topics that demonstrate or would explain and say something about your interactions with General Sibiya, and they have nothing to do with Medicare, and there's no basis or valid basis for you not to speak to those when you're asked to explain your interactions with General Sibiya.
I think also what Commissioner Baloyi is referring to, I think we have had sight of the ad hoc committee transcript. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's in that transcript where you say, in fact, you contradict what General Sibiya said before us here. You say you attended the engagement function, and that you did not go there just to pick up your wife, which is what General Sibiya told us. You say you attended that, and as I understand it, you attended as an invitee, and you were there for a period much longer than just going there to pick up your wife. So I'm raising that in support of what Commissioner Baloyi is saying, which is there is a lot you can talk about, and I do not see how it's incriminating for you to tell us that you went to the engagement party and also to contradict General Sibiya on what he himself said about your attendance there.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, it's not only the Medicare tender. Like I said before, it's also the contents of the recordings which are also putting me at the risk of self-incrimination. So I do not know how is the approach of, I cannot tell now as I sit here what is the approach of the investigation. I do not know that. So when I testified in the other committee, by then I was not yet charged or even being under investigation. So now it's a different thing now. I'm charged and I'm also under investigation.
You have only two bases on which you assert that privilege. You are either an accused or you're a suspect. There's no all-encompassing protection or umbrella that you say, well, I know it's being investigated and I don't know which way it will go. That's not what that protection that is given to you is all about. That protection applies if you show that I'm an accused on this issue, this very issue, and so I shouldn't be required to speak to it because I'll self-incriminate. That is the easier part. The other is I'm a suspect. But even there, you have to provide details because, as Ms. Silla says, it's not your say-so. You know, you don't just say, I'm a suspect, and that's the end of it. We are entitled to engage you to establish that indeed you are a suspect. Because if you're a suspect, of course, we have to be careful what we ask you if you are asserting that privilege and how we engage with you. So those are the two topics. That something is in the recordings is not sufficient to invoke that protection for you. You can't simply say, well, it's in the recordings and those recordings are being challenged and I don't know how they are going to use those recordings, therefore I should not be required to answer those questions. I think you can accept that if the privilege is properly invoked, if you rely on it properly, on the correct facts, the commissioners will give it proper regard because we wouldn't want to impinge on your fair trial rights. You can accept that, but the burden is on you to show us that an answer to a particular question will tread into your fair trial rights, and we must respect that. So far, you're speaking in you're dealing with matters in very broad and general terms, and that doesn't avail you. It's not available to you. But more importantly, you are either a suspect, and you have to show why you say you're a suspect in a particular matter, or you're an accused. Those are the only two circumstances. I don't know if you want to comment.
Yes, I wish to, Commissioner. I said I will make sure that I get the transcript from the pre-trial to prove that I'm actually a suspect in those recordings. And I will say again that in those recordings, I did not know to which extent they're going to investigate. So I do not want to be careless by saying something that will later incriminate me. But that is a fact that I am under investigation for those recordings, and then I will prove it by getting those transcripts so that you will know that actually I am a suspect.
He refused to testify about Maumela and Sibiya, his relationship in particular. However, the law has long grip. What is hidden will come to the light. Thanks you for watching Interluk News. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more analysis and cover on these matter.